Picture the endless ocean glittering like a million scattered jewels under a blazing golden sun, waves roaring with secrets, white foam dancing on every crest, and the greatest era in history exploding into life. 22 years ago, on a towering scaffold in the middle of the world, the king of the pirates, Gold Roger, stood with chains around his wrists and the biggest smile the world had ever seen. Swords flashed down, blood dripped, and with his very last breath he laughed and shouted, "You want my treasure? You can have it. I left everything I owned in that one place. Go find it." That single sentence lit a fire across the planet. Men and women abandoned their villages, their farms, their kingdoms, all racing to the sea with black flags raised high. The great pirate era had begun, and right now, in a tiny peaceful corner of the East Blue, the kid who will one day stand at the top of that wild world is about to take his first step. Zoom over rolling green hills, past windmills spinning lazily, down to a sleepy little seaside village called Fusha. Kids are laughing, fishermen are hauling nets, and in the middle of the local bar a 7-year-old boy with messy black hair and eyes burning like the sun is stabbing himself under the left eye with a dagger. Blood pours, grown men scream, but little Monkey D. Luffy just grins wider than the horizon because he wants the terrifying red-haired pirates drinking at the counter to see he's no coward. Those pirates belong to red-haired Shanks, the coolest man Luffy has ever met. Shanks laughs, ruffles the kid's hair, and warns him the sea is no playground. Luffy, cheeks puffed out with meat, declares right there and then, "I'm gonna be a pirate. A great one. Greater than you." The whole bar bursts into laughter, but Shanks just smiles a mysterious smile and places his own precious straw hat on the boy's head. "Come find me when you're ready, kid." 10 years fly by in the blink of an eye. That same boy, now 17, bursts into the same bar wearing that very straw hat, a bright red vest, blue shorts, and sandals, shouting at the top of his lungs, "Today's the day. I'm setting sail to become the king of the pirates." The villagers chuckle. They've heard this 1,000 times. Kindly bar owner Makino wipes a glass and smiles softly, while the village mayor tries to talk sense into him. Luffy just laughs, stuffs an entire watermelon-sized piece of meat into his mouth, and bounces out the door. He hops into the tiniest, most ridiculous barrel-shaped boat you've ever seen and pushes off with a cheerful "see ya" as the whole village waves goodbye, some with tears, some with disbelief, all knowing deep down they'll never see this crazy kid the same way again. Barely 10 minutes out, the sky darkens. A monstrous shadow rises from the deep, an island-sized sea king with teeth like spears and eyes glowing red. One chomp and Luffy vanishes down its throat. Darkness. Silence. Then, whoosh! A rubber arm stretches impossibly far out of the monster's mouth, grabs a passing seagull, and slingshots Luffy straight into the sky like a human cannonball. He lands laughing, completely unharmed, because when he was 7 he snuck into Shanks's treasure chest and ate the Gomu Gomu devil fruit, turning his entire body into living rubber. The price. He can never swim again. To Luffy that's a tiny detail. Being able to stretch like a slingshot is the greatest superpower ever. Still laughing, he gets caught in a wild whirlpool, spins like a top, and wakes up floating inside a giant wooden barrel. Perfect timing. 3 terrified pirates from the crew of Iron Mace Alvida have hidden inside the exact same barrel to escape their captain's temper. The barrel rocks, Luffy pops the lid with a cheerful "yo!" and greets the screaming pirates with, "Hi! I'm Monkey D. Luffy." Suddenly, the barrel is yanked upward by a massive hook. They've been fished up by none other than the hideous, bloated Captain Alvida herself, swinging her spiked iron mace and demanding, "Who is the most beautiful woman on all the seas?" Every pirate screams, "You are Lady Alvida." Except one. Kobe, fists shaking, face white, looks at Luffy's fearless smile and finds something he never had before, courage. He stands up and shouts, "You're nothing but an ugly old hag." The entire ship freezes. Alvida's eyes bulge with rage. She swings the mace down to crush Kobe into paste, but Luffy steps forward, plants his feet, stretches his arm all the way back like a rubber band, and roars, "Gomu Gomu no! Pistol!" His fist rockets forward faster than a cannonball and smashes Alvida so hard she blasts off into the sky, vanishing with a twinkle like a falling star. The pirates cheer, throw off their bandanas, and swear they'll turn over a new leaf. Kobe stares at Luffy like he's looking at a living legend. Night falls over a calm sea. Luffy and Kobe sail a stolen rowboat under a blanket of stars. Kobe confesses his dream, to join the Marines and capture bad pirates. Luffy grins wide and says, "Then do it. Dreams are meant to be chased." They aim for Shell's Town, the nearest Marine base, but Koby warns that the island is ruled by the corrupt Captain Axehand Morgan, and a terrifying pirate hunter is currently imprisoned there. Roronoa Zoro, a demon who wields 3 swords at once and has a bounty higher than most pirate captains. Luffy's eyes light up like fireworks. A super strong swordsman? Perfect. He's gonna be my first crew member. Koby thinks he's insane, but something about Luffy's unbreakable grin makes even impossible things feel possible. As dawn paints the sky orange, the little boat drifts toward a dusty, oppressive town surrounded by high walls. In the middle of the marine courtyard stands a wooden cross. Tied to it, shirt torn, skin baked by the sun, stands a green-haired man with 3 swords at his hip and a glare sharp enough to cut steel. 9 days without food, 9 days under the burning sun, yet Roronoa Zoro hasn't bowed once. Somewhere out on the waves, a rubber boy in a straw hat is sailing straight toward him, humming a happy tune, ready to turn the entire world upside down. The little rowboat scrapes onto the shore of Shell's Town just as the morning sun burns away the last of the mist, and Luffy hops out like he owns the place, straw hat tilted back, arms stretched high with a massive yawn that echoes across the quiet docks. Koby scrambles after him, whispering frantically that this island is under the iron fist of Marine Captain Axehand Morgan, a tyrant who rules through fear, and that everyone is terrified of the green-haired monster tied up in the base courtyard. Luffy just grins wider. Sounds like fun. They sneak through narrow, dusty streets where people hurry with their heads down, past wanted posters flapping in the wind, until they reach a tall wall. Luffy stretches his neck like a giraffe, literally, to peek over, and there he is, Roronoa Zoro, tied to a cross like a scarecrow, shirt ripped to ribbons, muscles glistening with sweat, 3 swords still strapped to his hip, and a glare so fierce even the seagulls keep their distance. A little girl with dark blue hair and a ribbon, named Rika, is trying to sneak him rice balls, but a fat, spoiled marine officer's son named Helmeppo struts up with his pet wolf and stomps the food into the dirt, laughing that Zoro will be executed in 9 days anyway for killing the wolf that attacked Rika. Luffy's smile vanishes for the first time. His fists clench so hard his knuckles pop. Koby drags Luffy away before the Marines spot them, begging him not to pick a fight with the entire base, but Luffy's already made up his mind. That guy's strong. I can tell. And strong guys belong on my crew. They duck into a tiny restaurant where Rika's mother works, and Rika shyly tells them Zoro's story. He's a pirate hunter who came to town to collect bounties, but when Helmeppo's wolf attacked her, Zoro sliced it to pieces. Instead of thanking him, corrupt Captain Morgan arrested Zoro and promised to free him after 1 month without food if he stayed silent. 9 days down, 21 to go, but everyone knows Morgan will execute him anyway just to show his power. Luffy slams his fist on the table. That's not a promise, that's a lie. I hate liars. Koby's eyes go wide. He's never seen Luffy angry before, and it's scarier than any Sea King. Meanwhile, inside the towering marine base, Captain Axehand Morgan sits on a throne-like chair made from the ship figureheads he's chopped off, his giant iron axe replacing his right hand glinting in the light. His son Helmeppo, a blonde pretty boy with a pompous jacket and a permanent sneer, brags that he's going to have Zoro executed tomorrow just for fun. Full Body, a smug marine lieutenant with pink hair, salutes and laughs along, but the real Marines whisper among themselves that Morgan has gone completely mad with power. Outside, Luffy marches straight to the courtyard gate, ignoring Koby's panicked pleas, and shouts up at Zoro, "Hey, 3-sword guy! Join my crew!" Zoro looks down with half-lidded eyes and growls, "Get lost, idiot. I'm not joining anybody." Luffy just laughs. "You haven't heard my dream yet. I'm gonna be king of the pirates." Zoro snorts, but something flickers in his eyes. Interest, maybe even respect. Helmeppo chooses that exact moment to stroll by with his bodyguards, swinging a giant hammer and bragging that he's going to execute Zoro early just because he's bored. Luffy steps in front of him, straw hat casting a shadow, and says calmly, "Apologize to the rice balls." Helmeppo laughs until Luffy's fist stretches back like a loaded cannon, "Gomu Gomu no whip," and sweeps Helmeppo and his guards off their feet in one rubbery arc. The entire courtyard explodes into chaos. Marines pour out with rifles raised, but Luffy just bounces around like a pinball, punching and kicking with stretchy limbs while yelling, "I'm not here to fight you guys, I just want the swordsman." Zoro watches from the cross, jaw dropped, as this rubber lunatic dismantles half the base without even trying. Kobe, hiding behind a wall, is shaking so hard his glasses fog up, but when a Marine points a gun at Luffy's back, something inside Kobe snaps. He charges forward, tackles the Marine, and screams, "Don't you dare shoot my friend!" The courtyard freezes again. Nobody expected the cowardly cabin boy to fight. Luffy turns, sees Kobe standing tall for the first time, and flashes the biggest, proudest grin in the world. High above on the balcony, Captain Morgan watches the chaos with cold eyes and orders Lieutenant Fullbody to bring out the big guns. Cannons roll into position. Zoro's voice cuts through the noise like a blade. "Hey, Straw Hat idiot, if you can untie me right now, I'll think about joining your crew." Luffy's eyes sparkle. He stretches both arms high, grabs the top of the massive execution cross, and yells, "Deal!" as the first cannon fires and the entire base erupts into all-out war. The cannonball screams through the air straight at Luffy's face, but he just grins, stretches his cheeks like warm toffee, and the iron ball sinks into his rubber face before popping right back out, boing, and rocketing back into the cannon that fired it. The explosion sends Marines diving for cover while Luffy swings from the top of the cross like a monkey, legs wrapping around the ropes binding Roronoa Zoro. One mighty tug and the ropes snap like string. Zoro drops to the ground, rolls, snatches his 3 precious swords from the dirt where Helmeppo had tossed them as a joke, and in a heartbeat the green-haired swordsman is on his feet, 3 blades flashing between his teeth and hands. The Marines who were cheering for their captain a second ago suddenly remember every terrifying rumor they ever heard about the pirate hunter Zoro, and they start backing away. Zoro spits the sword handle from his mouth just long enough to growl, "I owe you one, Straw Hat. Don't get in my way while I cut these liars down." Luffy laughs so hard his hat nearly falls off. "I like you already." High on the balcony, Captain Axehand, Morgan roars in fury and hurls his massive axe hand down like a guillotine. Zoro meets it head-on, Onigiri, and 3 swords clash against iron in a shower of sparks that lights up the courtyard like fireworks. The axe shatters into 1,000 pieces, and Morgan staggers back, stunned that anyone could break his weapon. Zoro doesn't even pause. He spins into a tornado of blades, Toragari, and slashes the balcony supports clean through. The entire platform collapses in a cloud of dust, sending Morgan crashing to the ground right at Luffy's feet. The tyrant scrambles up, screaming for his men to shoot, but every Marine rifle is now pointed at the dirt. They've had enough of serving a monster who treats innocent people like trash. Helmeppo, face swollen and clothes torn from Luffy's earlier whip attack, crawls out of the rubble whimpering and tries to run, but Kobe, sweet, trembling Kobe, steps in front of him, fists clenched, tears in his eyes, and shouts, "You don't get to hurt people anymore." Helmeppo swings a desperate punch. Kobe blocks it with a shaky arm, then throws the first real punch of his life. Helmeppo drops like a sack of rice. The Marines watching burst into cheers. The little cabin boy they never noticed just knocked out the spoiled brat who made their lives hell. Kobe stands there breathing hard, staring at his own fist like he can't believe it belongs to him, and Luffy slaps him on the back so hard he nearly falls over. "That's my friend right there." Zoro sheathes 2 swords, keeps one in his hand, and turns to Luffy. "You said you're gonna be king of the pirates. That's the stupidest dream I ever heard, and the only one worth following. Fine, Monkey D, Luffy, I'll sail with you, but only until you stop being interesting." Luffy's grin threatens to split his face in half. He throws an arm around Zoro's shoulders, which Zoro immediately shrugs off, and yells to the sky, "First crew member get!" The Marines, now free from Morgan's terror, tie up their former captain and his crying son while the townspeople flood the courtyard carrying food, water, and grateful tears. Rika runs straight to Zoro and hugs his leg. Zoro looks painfully awkward but pats her head once, very gently. Night falls purple and gold over Shell's town. The corrupt Marine flag is torn down, and the townspeople throw an impromptu party in the streets. Luffy sits on a rooftop scarfing down plate after plate of meat while Zoro leans against the chimney, arms crossed, pretending he isn't enjoying the grilled fish someone shoved into his hand. Kobe stands at the edge of the crowd in a brand new Marine uniform 2 sizes too big. The honest Marines decided on the spot that the kid who helped take down Morgan deserves to start training immediately. He salutes Luffy and Zoro with tears streaming down his cheeks. "I'll become a great Marine and clean up the seas my own way. Thank you for showing me I could be brave." Luffy waves a drumstick like a king's scepter. "You better become an admiral, Kobe, so I can kick your butt later." Zoro smirks for the first time all day. As the moon climbs high, Luffy and Zoro slip away from the party and walk to the little boat waiting at the dock. Luffy hops in first, turns around, and offers Zoro his hand. Zoro hesitates for half a heartbeat, pride, reputation, the weight of every bounty on his head flashing through his mind, then grabs the hand and steps aboard. The sails catch the wind, the tiny boat glides out under a sky exploding with stars, and Luffy's voice rings out across the water, "One down, plenty more to go." Next stop, a navigator, a cook, a musician, and the biggest treasure this world has ever seen. "We're gonna make the greatest crew ever, Zoro. The king of the pirates and the world's greatest swordsman, sailing together. Just watch the world burn with excitement." Behind them, Shell's town's lights twinkle like a farewell, and far ahead the endless ocean stretches dark and mysterious and full of promise. Two young men, one grinning under a straw hat, the other scowling under a green bandana, sail straight into the heart of the Grand Line's legend, and somewhere out there the greatest adventure ever told is only just beginning.